Hello everyone, Charles Watts here, the Arsenal correspondent at Goal, joining you for the latest one of my videos looking at all the latest Arsenal news as we head towards the end of the international break. Come on, real football is coming back. Sorry for all of you who love the international break, but let's face it, it is a little bit boring, isn't it? Although good win for England last night against Belgium, but the big news, come on, we are heading towards the end of the international break. Arsenal soon back in action with a tough trip to Manchester City. Not easy, but I think we're all looking forward to it just to see that new man, Thomas Partey, hopefully, touch wood, making his Arsenal debut. He's in action today for Ghana against Qatar. Fingers crossed he comes through that unscathed, and then he will be returning to England probably about Wednesday. I think Arsenal are expecting him at London Colney. I have good 3 days there ahead of that game against Manchester City on Saturday at the Etihad. So if he does make his debut, which we expect he will, it's certainly going to be a difficult start to life for Thomas Partey at Arsenal. We don't get much more tough than a trip to the Etihad on your debut, but that's the way the cards have been dealt and the way Thomas Partey has been playing the last couple of years. I doubt he's going to go there with any fear. Anyway, he'll go there, hopefully add a lot of bite, tenacity, quality, class to the Arsenal midfield, and hopefully Arsenal can get their first victory there since Santi Cazorla's masterclass in 2015. But not really here to talk about Manchester City yet. That's for later on in the week. I think the press conference with Mikel Arteta is probably going to be on Friday for that one. It might be Thursday, but probably we're expecting it to be Friday at the moment. We haven't had final confirmation from Arsenal yet. When that does come, I will update you as I always do, and I will try and give you a review as soon as the press conference has happened, talking about what Mikel Arteta has had to say. But let's get to some of today's business and headlines that are doing around, just before I give my take on what we are seeing. I wanted to start with some comments from Houssem Aouar, obviously Arsenal, big Arsenal target in the summer. Didn't quite get it done. Bid for him, didn't get it done. Lyon weren't willing to play ball with that one in terms of the offer that Arsenal made, and it didn't happen. Whether Arsenal go back for Aouar remains to be seen. But as we saw with Thomas Partey, it's a long process. Arsenal won't give up on a player just because they didn't get him in one window. They will certainly keep tabs on him because he's a player they like, a player they scouted an awful lot, and they've wanted for a long time. So I'm sure they will probably want to go back in for him if there's a chance of that at the end of the season or in January, because it depends what other clubs enter the run. And we know Real Madrid like him. We know Zidane likes him. So we'll have to wait and see whether Arsenal can do that. But I just wanted to talk about some comments that Houssem Aouar made about why he's still at Lyon. Here we go. He says, "I am happy to stay in Lyon. It is my city, my club, and it's an immense sort of pride to represent Lyon. I had a lot of discussions with Juninho, the sporting director. He shows confidence in me every day. Staying here for another season or more with him makes me very proud. I had to make a choice. It wasn't necessarily Arsenal or nothing else. Even in the end, if it looked something like that, I had to make a choice, and I'm happy to stay here." Interesting comments from Aouar, especially as, to be honest, it wasn't really his choice. The reason that Arsenal didn't get this deal done for Aouar is that they didn't have a bid accepted. I'm pretty sure that Aouar would have joined Arsenal if Arsenal had agreed with Lyon a price for the attacking midfielder. So although he says it's my choice, obviously that he's trying to make it smooth things over with Lyon. I don't think he was actively really pushing for a move, but he would certainly, I'm pretty sure, would have moved if the two clubs had agreed a fee. So interesting comments from Aouar, but I'm not really going to read too much into them. It'll be interesting to see where he goes in the summer, like I said, and how, if Arsenal do rekindle that interest when the next summer window. I doubt it's going to be one for January. I just think that's going to be a little bit too soon for Arsenal. I'd be surprised if we see a transfer of that sort of size happening in January, unless they're doing very, very well in the league and they decide to really have a big, real go at it to secure themselves Champions League football, or even, who knows, compete for the Premier League title. We'll have to wait and see once January comes around, but I just think it's probably going to be too big a deal that, and if Arsenal are going to rekindle their interest in Aouar, it'll be one for the summer. Some other player comments doing the rounds at the moment I wanted to discuss was Matteo Guendouzi. He's been speaking after being in action for the France under-21s. He's now off to Hertha Berlin to join up with his new teammates ahead of the start of his loan move. Guendouzi's talking about whether his Arsenal career is now over. He says it's not. He says it is not that. I just really needed to play this year, a new challenge. That was the most important thing for me. I'm still young, I'm only 21, so playing time was the top priority for me. So Hertha Berlin, I know that I'll be able to express myself in a magnificent league. They're a very good club with big ambitions, so I left to go on loan for a year. I will give everything I can for this club. I needed playing time. I need to play. I need to enjoy myself on the pitch, and that's what I'm going to do this year. So Matteo Guendouzi saying there that his Arsenal career is not over and that he just wanted to go to Hertha Berlin to get some playing time because he wasn't going to get that from Arsenal. I'm not so sure about that, I have to admit. I think Matteo Guendouzi's Arsenal career is over. I'd be very, very surprised if he comes back and gets himself back into the fold at Arsenal. He only have a year left on his contract, and I can't see it. I think Arsenal are certainly going to be moving on from Matteo Guendouzi now. Thomas Partey's come in. Obviously, I touched on it there, whether they go back in for Aouar next summer. I just think the midfield is beginning to take shape in Mikel Arteta's vision now, and I'm not too sure that Matteo Guendouzi is part of that. So although he says it's not over yet, I'm not too sure. I think Matteo Guendouzi has probably most likely played his last game for Arsenal Football Club and will be leaving either permanently or on another loan next season when he comes back from Hertha Berlin. I'd just be surprised if he comes back, which is a shame really, because he's a player with immense talent. I'll never forget being in Singapore reporting on Arsenal's pre-season tour when he made his debut against Atletico Madrid, and you're just like, who is this kid? Fantastic. A player we thought was going to come in and probably play with the under-23s for most of the season, just came in, immediately bossed the game against Atletico Madrid in that friendly in Singapore, and you just knew it was something special. And he's gone on to show that. Probably flatlined a little bit after that impressive first season, and then he's got his issues off the pitch and his issues with certainly with Mikel and the way he deals with people telling him what to do. He doesn't really like authority, and I think that's something he's going to have to work on if he is going to have a very, very good career, because he's still got plenty of time. He's only 21, but I just think with Guendouzi, he needs to learn how to take criticism, and he needs to learn how to handle someone in authority speaking to him, and that's probably what's going to bite him when it comes down to his career at Arsenal. Mesut Ozil now. Let's talk about Mesut Ozil quickly. I'm sure you've seen the stories reported by the brilliant David Ornstein for The Athletic that Ozil has just been paid an £8 million loyalty bonus by Arsenal. He got paid it in September, even though he hasn't played for since March. And yeah, that's obviously generated an awful lot of headlines today. And Ozil's getting a bit of criticism for it from a lot of people, but I think you've got to understand from this one, this is something that Ozil was written into his contract when he signed that new contract. Kind of these things, it's not just for Ozil, this happens in a lot of contracts. Clubs will put these sort of sweeteners in towards the end of the contract to try and make sure that if there is interest in the player during the length of his contract, that he has loyalty, that he wants to stay, because he knows he's going to get an awful lot of money from it, as is Ozil's case. Now, unfortunately, it hasn't worked out like this for Ozil, because he's not playing, he's not in the team, he's not in the squad even, and yet he's getting paid £8 million in bonus on top of his weekly wage, which is huge. So it certainly doesn't look great, but I think you've got to, for those criticising Mesut over it, I think you've got to give him a little bit of slack, because it's not his fault that Arsenal wrote this into his contract. It's not his fault that Arsenal gave him the contract that he did. Arsenal did that very willingly, and Ozil deserves to be paid, because that's what it's in his contract. So I'm not going to have a go here and slag off Mesut Ozil for this, because it's not his fault. At the end of the day, it's Arsenal's fault. They wrote the contract, they put the clauses in the contract, and this is one of them. And they are going to be saving a little bit of money on him anyway, because they're not playing him, he's not in the squad. So all the bonuses and clauses, match clauses, things like that he would be normally be getting at the moment, if he was playing, he's not getting. So Arsenal are at least saving some money from not playing Mesut Ozil. Just lastly on William Saliba, it's an interesting week for William Saliba, big week now. Arsenal got a big decision to make for Saliba. Obviously a lot of clubs in the Championship are keen on taking William Saliba. Arsenal have been talking to those clubs. Now they must weigh up what's to do. Are they going to send him on loan? Are they going to keep him? They've got till Friday to decide what they do with William Saliba, and it's going to be intriguing because he's not in the Europa League squad. So if they do decide that it's best for him to stay and acclimatise here with his teammates and adjust more, learn the language more here, then he's not going to play too many games in that period, because he's not going to be in the Europa League squad at the moment. He seems like he's miles away from being in the Premier League team. So even if he makes a 25-man squad list for the Premier League, it looks unlikely that he's going to be playing much football. So if Arsenal do decide to keep him and opt not to send him to one of the Championship clubs who wants him, then he's not going to get too much game time. But it probably will help in terms of his acclimatising to his new surroundings, to Arsenal, to his teammates. Whereas sending him off on loan somewhere, suddenly he's on his own, doesn't know anyone, has to go through that all again. And so although we playing regularly, which every footballer wants, and that's what's going to help him with his development, certainly in terms of his game, he might be lonely. We already know he's had personal issues. Is that the thing? So that's what Arsenal got to weigh up in the next few days over William Saliba, whether it's keep him or to let him go. That's about it for today's video. Thank you very much for watching, everyone. I do appreciate it. As always, you can find me on Twitter at Charles_Watts. I'm on Facebook as well, and head over to goal.com for all your Arsenal news as always. I have put out a tweet on my Twitter account this morning saying I'm planning to do one of my Q&As this week, record one of my Q&As this week. I put out a message saying if you want to get involved, please just reply to that tweet with your questions, any questions you want on Arsenal or any Arsenal opinions you may have that you want debated. Then reply to my tweet with those and get involved. I will go through them and try and record either one or two parts of the Q&A. Last couple have had to do in 2 parts because there have been so many of you wanting to get involved. And I will try and record that. So like I said, please do head over to my Twitter account if you want to get involved in that and reply to that tweet. Thank you all for watching. Happy Monday, everyone. Please do enjoy the rest of your week, and I'll be back to speak to you as soon as I can. Until then, bye-bye.